Hi, in this video we're going to see about connection processing. I've already told you whenever a user wants to connect, typically you give the host port, service name or instance name, and the connection request reaches the listener. And whenever a connection request reaches the listener, it's going to result in a server process created, and then thereafter the user talks to the server process. Now, when we talk about multiple users logging in, multiple server processes are going to be created. Now, what do you think is the number of sessions that can be maintained or number of connections? That depends, because if I'm looking at a user base of 10,000 users who could log into my application, or 1 million users, take any ticketing system. You could have, let's say you want to buy a movie ticket, you could go into any website and book your ticket, but in the background there is a database that you connect to. But if you rewind back many years, let's say 15 years ago, generally we didn't have an application server concept. We used to have thick clients where the desktop had an application which a user invokes and then he gets connected. In that case, this was what was happening. We'll come to the case of applications. Today's world, we'll talk about that very soon. Now, in those days when we had thick clients which were in use, imagine a scenario where somebody comes to office, opens their application, logs into the database, and is logged in for 8 hours. So we have a scenario where the user is logged into the application for 8 hours. But it is not going to be the case where he keeps on doing transactions continuously, where he keeps the database busy all through. Maybe he does something once in 10 minutes which will have something to do in the database. For example, even if a user opens an application and is typing something, when he's typing something, nothing is happening in the database. When he clicks save or when he clicks retrieve, that's where there is a request coming in. So if I look at it, for 1 second out of 600 seconds is when a user is doing something. I'm just taking a simple use case. It could be a longer period or a smaller period, but surely there is a lot of idle time that a user experiences as far as the database is concerned for his connection. Now, that's fair enough. That's the way we expect our applications to be used. But imagine the status of these resources. On the server side, we have initiated and created a process for each user, and that results in CPU, memory, resources being consumed. Now, if I could increase the number of users to 100, then 100 processes. Very bad resource utilization. So the idea then is to consider doing shared connections. I'm going to explain about 2 features which we can understand and appreciate in a database environment. Is if I'm using thick clients where a user invokes an application which is installed on the client and then connects to the database, shared server connections, or if you're using applications where you are having an application server. This is not a user 1, user 2, user 3, but this is an app 1, app 2, and app 3. These are the guys who connect, but there are n number of users who log into each one of them. For example, take the case of your bank. You may log into your bank with an internet banking. You may use your mobile and log into your bank. Each login is not happening in the database, typically to the application, and then the application works on your behalf. The same scenario is holding good. Even if you are logging into the bank, you are not continuously working in the bank. You spend a few seconds typing something, clicking something happens only once in a while. So at that time is when the database is put to use. So for that purpose, applications use what is called as connection pool. So 2 things that we're going to talk about is how do we implement shared servers and what is the purpose of connection pool, and both are targeting 2 specific environments. One is the connection pool in the case of an application middle tier, and shared server when you're using thick clients as your applications installed in your desktop and then work with it. We will talk about both in the next couple of videos.